In wrestling, there are some moments that are expected, but even if we see them coming a mile away as we predict, it still feels surreal and shocking when they get here. And that's the best way to describe the general sentiment of the crazy wonderment of AJ Lee's return on SmackDown in Chicago recently. She's been back after nearly 4,000 days away, or a little over 10 years. But it's surreal. It actually happened. Hearing Light It Up and seeing her strut to the ring, seeing AJ Lee look better than ever, almost like a day hadn't passed, showing everyone why she has been missed for those reasons and why we are so happy to see her back and why we watch wrestling in general for moments like this. When it's good, it's so good. There's nothing quite like it. So, now that she's back, what could possibly be ahead for her in WWE? As of now, it's unclear what type of deal AJ Lee has signed to. All we know is that she did technically sign something, because Triple H posted a video about it. We also know that she's going to cross paths once again with the WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch at some point in the near future, after whomping on her at the end of SmackDown after she slapped AJ Lee's husband, CM Punk. The obvious direction is for WrestlePalooza coming up in September in Indianapolis with a mixed tag team match of CM Punk and AJ Lee against the power couple of World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins and his IC champion wife, Becky Lynch. Power couple versus power couple. But let's be honest, is that really the most exciting thing that we can see in AJ Lee's return? It's going to be a solid attraction, a one-off, similar to Ronda Rousey teaming up with Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 34, an underrated match. But what fans really want to see is AJ Lee mixing it up with the rest of the women's division. I know, we're looking ahead here. She's always been the quintessential women's wrestler in the era of the Divas. Yes, she got in there before things really got going, and this isn't to put the other women around her down, but it's the fact that WWE didn't want a great women's division, or at least it felt that way in the early 2010s. They wanted divas, characters that appealed to a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons, but not the same reasons today. According to John Laurinaitis, they were appealing to the male gaze, and they wanted someone whom fans were attracted to. And that's why it always felt like AJ Lee was out of place in her era, ahead of her time. She made it work in spite of all of the adversity and circumstances against her. She had to face them and have this backward mentality that existed among WWE's creative vision and higher-ups at the time, reportedly. And that's one of the biggest reasons why there was a lot of sadness about her departure as each year passed on. She missed out on the train of the women's revolution in WWE that would take place years and months after her exit, and the eventual formation of the best women's division that WWE has ever presented, with the most legitimate athletic combat that also had depthful characters to match. There is no doubt that AJ Lee belonged in a roster that featured outstanding talents like The Boss, Sasha Banks, The Man, Becky Lynch, The Queen, Charlotte Flair, yes, the Big Hugger, Bayley, Alexa Bliss and her Twisted Bliss, and all of the other big stars that would eventually come with the women's movement in WWE post-2015. She was only 28 years old when she retired, and although it had to do with some continuing injuries that were definitely serious, many suspect it was about CM Punk and his unfortunate and unceremonious exit from WWE in late 2014. It was still a shame that so many dream matches simply couldn't happen within that window. This isn't the case anymore. It looks like we're set to see the first major dream match when AJ Lee goes up against Becky Lynch at some point. After the momentous SmackDown went off the air in Chicago, I was there. It was an insane energy still sitting in the air as AJ did her cheeky little bit where she picked up the Women's Intercontinental Championship and just gloated with it, hopping around, doing her classic little skip, telling you what was coming and not even saying it. So we know what could possibly come from the devious AJ Lee, maybe winning her first title in WWE in over 11 years. She doesn't need it exactly, but how cool would it be to have her back in the mix, facing newer and younger stars of today? This is a complete crop of talent we never even thought could match up with AJ Lee. So many possibilities, so many matches she can have. Unfortunately, not every single one can come to fruition exactly, but we can think of a few major matches that could. For one, Roxanne Perez, who idolized AJ Lee growing up and has many photos of her in her teenage years cosplaying as AJ Lee. And then there's also Raquel Rodriguez, who has low-key been one of the most improved superstars in WWE in 2025. The matchup of a pint-sized pixie powerhouse in AJ Lee against an astounding, gigantic Amazon in Raquel, that's a fun dynamic. There's already 3 dream matches, but there could be so much more. There's Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky, Liv Morgan, Asuka, Lyra, Valkyria, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, and that's just scratching the surface. We could bring up a few names from NXT, but we would get lost reeling them all off. The point we're making here is that the women's roster is just so freaking stacked right now, and they're worlds apart of where they were when AJ Lee left and retired in 2015. This is where you watching, giving us your hard-to-earn internet focus, get in the comments and tell us who you think AJ Lee should have a match with. Come on, they're right down there. You know where they are. She can't face all the names we've listed here, and eventually don't expect AJ Lee to tick every name off the bucket list. That isn't feasible or functional. Maybe she's on some type of part-time deal with limited appearances where she makes a few appearances and a few matches and then really settles in for WrestleMania season. Either way, we're just lucky to have her back, regardless of who she faces or how many matches she has left. It's better than getting absolutely no AJ Lee, and we are getting crazy AJ Lee. What is a priority now is to make sure she doesn't re-injure anything or have any detrimental things to her health. That was a big reason why we didn't get her for the last 10 years, and that's why, she had to quit wrestling for a long time. So while Becky Lynch and Roxanne Perez are 2 of the biggest dream opponents she could have, she's now on a roster that she belongs and fits into perfectly, maybe even more than the one she left. That's the beauty of wrestling. Somebody can be gone for a decade, and fans not only remember them, but embrace them like a day never passed since they left. The best part in all of this is seeing widespread, universal love that AJ Lee returning to WWE is creating, and reviving nostalgia from the mid-2010s after all what can be described as a tumultuous end to her WWE career, or end as we recall it, between the legal issues with CM Punk, the awkwardness backstage she must have just felt, and the unfortunate abruptly end to her WWE career. She did some very outstanding things outside of WWE, dabbled a little bit with, women of wrestling, but never got back in the ring. She deserves every bit of the praise and excitement she has been receiving, and the fact that we're going to see her in the ring again is incredible. It would be great if she walked around with the Women's Intercontinental Championship for a little while longer, or, skipped around with it. Yeah, absolutely. She would have the biggest name to elevate the title after Becky Lynch, and it's going to do wonders for every other woman who holds the title after her. An ideal scenario to be here is if she won the IC title and held it until WrestleMania, where maybe a younger superstar who, as we mentioned, built herself up in the AJ Lee mode, Roxanne Perez, could dethrone her. Another possible scenario would be AJ Lee truly doing something incredible that she didn't get to do before, winning the Women's Royal Rumble, a match that wasn't even an option when she was here before. Yeah, it's been that long. Although some might debate that it's not the best decision and it might take the spot away from a deserving younger superstar. That age difference keeps coming up here. But AJ winning it would feel special, right? It's a fair argument to make that a younger talent might deserve it, but you're not going to find a live audience opposing the idea of AJ Lee right now winning that Women's Royal Rumble, or even one opposing it in January 2026, unless a bunch of other things happen. But let's just say it feels still surreal that AJ Lee is going to be in a Royal Rumble match. I feel like that's a safe bet. Maybe she thought that she couldn't have reached a greater peak than WrestleMania 30, where she defended her then Divas Championship, the butterfly belt, against the entire women's roster. But as it turns out, there are greater moments on the horizon waiting to happen for her and everyone who loves seeing her do her thing. And we're just simply anticipating all of it. And maybe we're just completely getting ahead of ourselves because we don't know the full details of her WWE contract and how available she can be. As the days keep passing by, we're likely going to get more information on the type of contract she has signed, what type of player she'll be week to week for WWE on television, and we have a gut feeling it's going to be more than just a simple one-off here and there. When listening to the embrace of that crowd in one of the greatest wrestling cities in the world in Chicago, it's hard to imagine anybody not getting intoxicated by this character who's just really captivating and can just gather the attention of millions of people with a wink, a smile, and then a big fight that follows. We wish AJ Lee the best of luck in her future because we have no doubt that she's going to do what she does best: leave a lasting impression, do something absolutely insane and crazy, and leave the place better than she did before. At least for us, the audience, not everyone that's in the ring with her. That's just the type of character she is in the ring, and maybe a little bit outside of it. As always, thank you for watching, and let us know what you want to see happen with AJ Lee. Who do you need to see her face on this run coming up in WWE? Are you excited that she's back? Hit the like button.